Good afternoon, late afternoon, early evening. This is Robert Goodman here for Positive Strokes, Staying Clean on YouTube. It's Saturday at 6 p.m. And like last week, we're right back here at the same time talking about the same thing, which is recovery. I hope that you all are doing well in your recovery. I hope that you are feeling good about yourselves because you are doing the work in your recovery. You're keeping the focus on yourself so you can grow in your recovery. Tonight, I want to talk about keeping focus on moving forward. I learned in my recovery that if I don't challenge myself to do better than yesterday, then it will not get done. I must challenge myself. Each day I must work harder for the benefit of Robert, working on Robert each and every day. To look back at the past mistakes that I've made in my recovery and how I made steps to not make that mistake again. Allowing myself to feel disappointment when things don't go the way I would like them to go, but to move forward and not cry over spilt milk, but use the old adage, just get you another carton, meaning just dust yourself off and move forward. Once I left doing the steps, the 12 steps, once I've done the 12 steps more than once, my look on recovery and my life became different because I'm walking down a brand new road, and as time moves on and situations happen, I can forget of where I came from and how far I came to get to where I'm at today because I'm so focused on what's going on in front of me. Sometimes, if I don't pay attention to myself, I can allow small things get blown into proportion because I'm losing focus and direction of myself in my recovery. So, how do I stay on track moving forward in recovery and not cause myself to constantly trip and stumble all the time? Well, the first thing I learned that helps me to keep me humble is that I'm human and I make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes because I am an imperfect person. So, if I'm an imperfect person and I make mistakes, that means I must check Robert's material, information, and knowledge to make sure everything is above board and is on point. On point. Think before I act. Think before I speak. Ask myself questions about the situation. Do my research and find the proper answers to the question. These are the steps that I have to do on a daily basis to keep myself focused on recovery. Recovery is a process of living your life on life's terms and making sure that you get a daily reprieve of being caught in addiction. I don't sit up and say, well, I got 5 years, I got 3 years, I got 20 years, I got 30 years. The more I learn about Robert, the more I learn that I need to pay close attention on this 24 hours in my recovery. This 24 hours in my recovery. I don't think about all the time that I have clean. I think about this 24 hours. I focus on this 24 hours. I focus on why I think the way I think about a situation, why this situation affects me the way that it does. What is the proper way that I should handle this problem? What are all my options about this problem? See, in my addiction, I made rash and quick decisions, thinking that I know better, that I can make the right decisions in what I'm doing. But when I found out that I'm an imperfect person and I make mistakes, that everybody's like that, then that means I had to check my behavior, because that's telling me, Robert, you can be your worst enemy if you don't pay attention to yourself. It's just like if I goes into Walmart and I make a conscious decision to take something out of Walmart, then whatever happens, it's on me because I made that conscious decision. I'm the one that chose to do this. Now, if I get caught, it's on me. It's nobody else's fault but mine because I chose to do this action. There's no justification that I can make for doing a wrong action because I chose to do that action. I did that on my own. So I have no one to blame but myself because I put myself down the rabbit hole. And once I see the mistakes that I made, how I put myself in these situations, then I'm going to start paying more close attention to myself so I don't make these mistakes. So I don't make these mistakes because it's on me. So that's telling me, Robert, you could be your worst enemy if you don't pay attention to the things that you do. And I can't pay attention to myself if I'm loaded and I'm high as a kite. Because all my body wants is loving the pleasure, the good feeling that it's giving me. I'm not doing anything to benefit myself. I'm just enjoying the feeling. And when that feeling goes away, I want that feeling again. So I have to go out and get more and more and more. And that becomes more important because I'm chasing that feeling. And I'm stuck in the vicious cycle in addiction. Addiction can be eating, addiction can be gambling, addiction can do anything that makes you lose control of yourself, where you're willing to do anything bad just to do what you want to do. See, I was in addiction for 40 years. And it was an unbelievable, unforgettable life. But what I learned is that it's not people that I have to watch out for. It's Robert has to watch out for Robert. Because Robert is the one that can put himself in a bad situation where he can go down the rabbit hole. It's just like I've heard somebody say one time, I got this program of recovery. I'm going to help everybody I can. I'm going down to the spot where they all hang out, and I'm going to talk to these people, and I'm going to tell them about my recovery. And that same person, they went down there and did that. They end up going out themselves. And I've heard it more than one time, and those people are no longer in the program of recovery because they felt that they can go down there and talk about recovery and they can stop people from using and abusing drugs. When we know that we got no power over nobody else. So if a person chooses to make a bad decision, they're going to do what they want to do. They're not caring about what you think or how you feel. They're going to do exactly what they want to do because they choose to do it. So if a person chooses to do something wrong, then the tough love should come into play where you put yourself in that boat. You need to feel the full weight of the situation that you took yourself in so you don't do it anymore. So you don't do it anymore. When you own up to your mistake and you pay for your mistake, the course should teach you not to do it anymore. But if you have people coming out to save you all the time, then most of the time these people feel that they should get the help from people to save them. But they put themselves in that situation, but they feel that these people should save them. It's your job to save me. Me personally, I rather for a loved one to learn how to deal with bad decisions and overcome them and work through them on their own, because I know if I die, I know that they'll be able to take care of themselves living a life on life's terms, because life is not easy. When you have the responsibility of taking care of everything, life is not easy. It is not easy. But if you do the next right thing, it can be rewarding. But you have to do the right thing. Just like I came into recovery because addiction kicked my ass. I didn't come into recovery because it was a beautiful thing in my addiction that I lived the life of Riley the whole time. No, addiction kicked my ass. That's why I got into recovery. And then as I got into recovery and I stayed in recovery and my life got better, I liked the person that I became. I liked the job that I did on myself. I like my life. I built a different life. I didn't know that I was capable of doing all the things that I did in my recovery. Because in my addiction, I was constantly beat down that you'll never amount to nothing. All you be doing is want to get high. You'll never amount to nothing. All you want to do is do drugs. You'll never have nothing. And these are the things that people told me in my addiction. And when you hear it long enough, you try to let it roll off you, but you start to believe what people tell you about yourself, especially when it comes to you when you're high. You start to, when you get them moments where you're fighting for food or you're fighting for shelter or you're just going through some changes, that you get these moments where it gets unbearable and you go through your depression mode or with depression session. I call it depression session. And you go for that for a little while and you dust yourself off because you know you're not getting nowhere with it and nobody's trying to listen to you. So you keep moving forward. But what happens is, I believe with me, I kept self-sabotaging myself because I knew I was doing wrong to myself. So there was times when I would self-sabotage myself because I didn't like who I was and I didn't like where I was in my addiction. But the thing I learned in recovery is once I got focused on recovery, once I got focused on living myself, making myself have a better life, living on life's terms, when I was going forward, constantly going forward, moving forward in the direction of recovery, remembering that one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. And that statement alone that you hear around the rooms tells you that you'll never get enough, no matter how much you have. You'll always want more. You know, the funny thing, in my early recovery, I used to wake up in the middle of the night in sweats. And I would have a flashback in a dream where I'd be in a room and I got tons of crack cocaine and I got pipes all over the place and all I'm doing is smoking. I'm just picking it up and just smoking. That's all I'm doing. And it scared the hell out of me. I wake up in sweats and shakes and stuff. Yeah. It took a while before that one went away. You know. But that was my body trying to tell my mind, you need some more of that. We need some more of that stuff. Stop making us suffer. You know? So it took me a while to overcome my addiction because I had long periods of time using. One was 5, one was 9, one was a year, one was 18 months, one was 3 years, 5 years. I mean, I had periods like that. The longest was 5 years straight. High for 5 years straight. That's why I say I was a dope when I was using because I was high a lot of times all day and all night. So my decision making and what was going on was my judgment was clouded. What I was seeing, things was clouded because I wasn't in my right frame of mind. And as I'm in my recovery now, I'm in my right frame of mind. I see a lot that I didn't see back then. I pay attention to myself because I know if I don't, then I can cause myself to go back down the rabbit hole and I could probably overdose or be stuck out there in addiction for the rest of my life. And neither one situations look good. So I pay attention to Robert and Robert's actions. So what I'm sharing is in order to keep on moving forward in your recovery, you must stay close attention to yourself. You must pay close attention to yourself. The more you pay attention to yourself, the better you become. And the better you understand the things that are going on around you. You learn to make smart decisions because you're not letting your feelings and emotions get in the way of you making a decision. Because recovery is teaching you to live life on life's terms, not act on feelings and emotions. So, one thing I tell myself is I know if I start smoking dope, I'm going to want more and I'm not going to want to stop. So I can't do that. I know if I smoke dope, then that's going to be the most important thing to me. And I'm going to destroy myself. I keep that foremost in my mind, that it only takes one full pull for Robert to go back down the rabbit hole. And that's keeping myself humble by constantly letting myself know it only takes one full pull, one dub to get me started back at the races. One dub, get me started back at the races. And since I know that, that lets me know that I'm paying attention to myself. So I'm not going to do that. Because remember all the things you went through in your addiction for 40 years? Remember all those things when you played the tape all the way through and all the craziness and all the uncertainty and beating yourself up, your body up, lack of sleep, not taking care of yourself? I burned myself out really quick at 66. If I go back out there and do that, I'm 66 years old. I'm not young no more. I can't do that no more. But that was a part of my life. That was a part of my past. So I learned from my mistakes. I'm making my life better. And I'm working on my own recovery. I share this with you to let you know that as long as you keep the focus on yourself, you will live your best life. This is Robert Goodman from Positive Strokes, Staying Clean. I hope that I resonated something with you tonight, and I sharing information to keep you focused on moving forward, to constantly look at yourself and understand. It's easy for me to say that if I take a whoa, I'm back at the races. That's being honest with myself and others. That's being honest with myself and others about my addiction. And as long as I keep it foremost and ahead in my life and pay close attention to myself, I'll stay clean and sober. As long as I go and I help others in the program of recovery, I'll keep recovery fresh in my mind. As long as I pay attention to myself, I'll work on making myself better. As long as I keep the focus on myself, I will have compassion for others. These are some of the blessings of recovery. So this is Robert Goodman from Positive Strokes, Staying Clean. I hope you guys got something from my message. And there's over 300 videos that you can choose from to find your way in recovery. You'll have a great and wonderful evening.